What would you do if you poured every dollar into your dream, only to fail again and again until you had no home and had to live in your car? Most people would quit. Tyler Perry didn't. Before becoming a billionaire filmmaker and one of the most influential names in Hollywood, Perry faced years of rejection, poverty, and self-doubt. Yet, his determination turned pain into purpose. In this video, we'll uncover how Tyler Perry went from being homeless to building a film empire that inspires millions. His journey proves that when you refuse to give up, anything is possible. Tyler Perry was born in 1969 in New Orleans, Louisiana, into a household filled with hardship. He endured years of physical and emotional abuse from his father, creating a childhood marked by trauma and pain. Perry often turned to his mother and church for comfort, finding brief moments of peace in his otherwise turbulent life. These difficult experiences shaped his storytelling, allowing him to create characters that were raw, authentic, and relatable. Instead of letting his childhood define him, Perry used it as fuel. His resilience was forged early on, preparing him for the challenges he would face later. Writing became Perry's escape from his painful reality. After hearing on an episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show that writing could be a form of healing, he started journaling. What began as a therapeutic practice soon evolved into a creative outlet, where he turned his life experiences into fictional characters and stories of hope. These writings laid the foundation for the stage plays that would later launch his career. Perry decided to turn his passion for writing into a career, focusing on stage plays that reflected the struggles and triumphs of African American families. With no formal background in theater, he taught himself everything about producing and writing plays. He invested all the money he had into creating his first production, I Know I've Been Changed, in the early 1990s. Perry envisioned it as a powerful story of forgiveness and faith. Unfortunately, despite his hard work, the first shows were poorly attended. Yet Perry refused to give up, convinced that his stories were worth sharing with the world. The early years were filled with failure. Perry's first play was a financial disaster, and he spent the next 6 years working odd jobs to fund additional productions. Each time, he put all his savings into new shows, and each time, the plays struggled to find an audience. Friends and family told him to give up, but Perry's faith and determination wouldn't let him quit. He believed his plays had a message that would resonate with people eventually. These years of rejection tested him in every way, but they also strengthened his belief that success requires perseverance. At his lowest point, Perry was broken homeless, living out of his car in Atlanta. He would shower at local gyms and spend his days writing scripts, all while trying to keep his dream alive. This period of his life was filled with loneliness and doubt, but it also taught him resilience and patience. Perry often reflects on this time as a defining moment where his faith in God and his belief in himself were the only things that kept him going. Living in his car didn't break him. It gave him the hunger to push harder. After years of struggle, Perry's perseverance finally paid off in 1998. He staged I Know I've Been Changed once again, but this time it was a success. Word of mouth spread quickly, and the play began attracting larger audiences. Perry's stories, filled with themes of faith, forgiveness, and family, deeply resonated with people. This breakthrough marked the turning point in his career. For the first time, he saw that his vision was not only valid but powerful. The success of this play gave him the confidence and financial stability to continue creating, eventually leading to a nationwide tour. Perry realized that mainstream Hollywood wasn't catering to African American audiences, so he took matters into his own hands. He built a loyal fan base by touring his plays across the U.S., connecting with communities who saw themselves in his characters. Perry's productions weren't just entertainment. They were experiences filled with humor, faith, and heartfelt messages. By understanding his audience and staying true to his roots, Perry turned his stage plays into a cultural movement. His grassroots approach not only made him financially independent, but also positioned him as a creative force who didn't need Hollywood's approval to succeed. One of Perry's biggest breakthroughs was the creation of Medea, a tough, no-nonsense grandmother inspired by his own mother and aunt. Medea became the heart of his plays and later his films, delivering wisdom wrapped in humor and sass. Audiences fell in love with her, and Perry's brand exploded in popularity. What started as a character in a stage play became the foundation for an entire franchise of movies, merchandise, and media. Medea was more than a character. She represented strength, resilience, and unconditional love, resonating with audiences around the world. Even with his growing popularity on stage, Hollywood didn't take Perry seriously. Studio executives believed his style of storytelling wouldn't work on the big screen. But Perry wasn't deterred. He used the profits from his stage plays to finance his first movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, in 2005. The film was a massive hit, grossing over $50 million on a budget of just $500 million. Perry's success proved the critics wrong and showed that his audience was hungry for stories that reflected their lives. This moment cemented Perry's position as a Hollywood outsider who didn't need approval. Rather than rely on traditional studios, Perry built his own empire. In 2006, he founded Tyler Perry Studios, allowing him to produce movies, TV shows, and plays on his terms. By owning his work, Perry maintained creative control and kept a larger share of the profits. His studio eventually became one of the largest in the US, even bigger than those owned by major Hollywood players. Perry's ability to create his own lane showed the power of independence and vision. He didn't just build a career, he built a blueprint for other creators to follow. Over time, Perry's empire grew to include successful films, hit television shows like House of Pain and The Haves and the Have-Nots, and partnerships with networks like Oprah's OWN. His work has grossed over $1 billion in ticket sales, and his studio sits on 30 acres in Atlanta, larger than Disney, Paramount, and Warner Bros. Combined. In 2020, Perry officially became a billionaire, a milestone that reflected decades of persistence and self-belief. His journey from homelessness to billionaire status is one of the most inspiring success stories in entertainment history. Tyler Perry's story is a masterclass in resilience, faith, and the power of believing in your vision. He teaches us that failure is not the end, but a stepping stone. Perry's journey reminds us that you don't need permission from anyone to chase your dreams. You just need persistence and the courage to keep going, even when things look impossible. His rise from living in a car to owning one of the biggest film studios in the world shows that with determination, you can turn pain into power and create a legacy that inspires millions. Tyler Perry's journey proves that no matter how tough life gets, your circumstances don't define your destiny. From living in his car to building a billion-dollar empire, Perry's story is proof that perseverance and self-belief can turn dreams into reality. If his journey inspired you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Behind the Glory for more incredible stories of people who refused to give up. Your support helps us bring you powerful tales of resilience and success.